Hey guys, this is Valerius Maximus doing a commentary video for Empire Total War Online. In this battle, I play as France. We're fighting on the map Grassy Flatlands, and I'm fighting against Great Britain. Before we start this battle off, I just want to take a look at army compositions to give you guys an idea of what exactly I like to bring, and hopefully we can learn a little bit about tactics here. I'm not really going to focus on any specific one thing, but it's just going to be a general overview of what's going through your head. What you should be thinking as you're fighting an online battle. Right now, it looks like I have 7 units of riflemen, which, to be completely honest with you, is a mistake. 7 units of riflemen is a little bit excessive. I would consider that spamming, so in this battle I am spamming riflemen along with 5 units of the Chasseurs à Cheval, which are the equivalent of light dragoons for France. Also, I have 18-pound guard horse artillery, which is more accurate, better melee attack and defense cannon pieces for France, so that's good. I'm going to rush them up to follow along with my line of light infantry and cavalry. And also, I have, it looks like 5 units of line infantry here, and also my Swiss Guard. Always have to have the Swiss Guard, followed by a general's bodyguard in the back. As we start the battle off, it looks like what I'm doing is I'm rushing my cavalry all the way to my flank, the enemy's flank, his outer left flank, and in an attempt to actually put him in a bad position. I want to distract him. I want to make that a concern for him as we start the battle off, throw him off his battle plan by having cavalry on his flanks. But he's opening up fire on my cavalry with that shrapnel shot, and as you can see, it did a little bit of damage. So what I'm going to do is try to get my cavalry as close as possible to his line before we get this battle kicked off, and if I can eliminate his artillery power, chances are that'll end up good for me, as he has 2 units of these 6-pound horse artillery, and we're going to take a look at his army later on in the battle. But this turned out to be fairly quick, and as you can see, I'm already opening up on his cannons, who are going to start wavering. And his heavy cavalry charged right into my Chasseurs à Cheval and are going to be outmatched in melee combat because heavy cavalry is clearly better than the Chasseurs. But I was able to get a little bit of support from these units of Chasseurs à Cheval, who did a little bit of flanking fire on the heavy cavalry. And now I'm going to go straight for this little gap here to hit his other unit of cannons that have not routed yet, which are going to allow me to both envelop his general and also get a little hit on his cannons. So that's good. I've already eliminated some of his artillery power, except for these 2 units of 24-pounders that he has over here. 4 units of cannons, I would say, is a little bit excessive. I would bring a maximum of 3, depending on what it is, and overall I really do prefer howitzers anyway. So I did sacrifice a few of my chasseurs there to have my other chasseurs fire from the flank on the heavy cavalry to get them out of the picture. It looks like I have his cavalry locked down. This unit of 6-pound horse artillery is going to be routing fairly soon, and then I would also take care of his general's bodyguard while my light infantry hangs back. But now I recognize this is the time that I probably want to move up on them while he doesn't have anything guarding his flank here except for 1 unit of the Ferguson riflemen, and my light infantry body is standing back. So his general died, and that's good news for me because now his troops are going to suffer from a negative morale impact there, which is going to make the battle that much easier. One thing that I have experimented with lately is using a unit besides your general's bodyguard to bring to the battlefield. I've actually found that a light dragoon unit or an infantry unit does very well, and not only masking which unit your general is in, but also of making sure that they don't die quite as easily and that they're useful in the battle. As long as your units are useful, that's good news. Now, those cannons did a really nice job of tearing this unit of chasseurs up, who are now actually wavering, and now they're shaken. But at this point, I probably could have actually charged at least 1 unit into the back of these cannons here, as he has nothing defending them except for a couple units. Well, 1 unit of light dragoons and 1 unit of heavy cavalry, which I already did rout 1 of them, so we're going to take a look at the rest of his army. It looks like he has 2 units of the Ferguson riflemen here, which one of their cool abilities is they can fire 2 salvos before having to reload. And also he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units of the 7 units of the line infantry, 2 of them which are elite. Now, if you didn't see that, which I just noticed that out of the corner of my eye, my 7 units of Triers, I'm really not sure how to pronounce that, but they just absolutely annihilated an entire unit of Ferguson riflemen with that 1 salvo from each unit. I really do not like using too much light infantry, but of course in this battle I did not adhere to my own wisdom. But as you can see, that seemed to be pretty effective, as an entire unit was murdered by my rifles. So now I'm going to continue to move up my line. The idea behind that is, while he's engaged on the flank by my riflemen, he is now actually collapsing his own defensive position that he's taken. His flanks are collapsing here. And also, over here, he's fairly weak because he has no support for his Ferguson riflemen at all. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try to hit him from both the front and the side with my light infantry supremacy. And that should end up good for me, but it looks like he was able to open a little bit of the cannon fire here before I was able to do anything. But I did hit him from the back, which is the good news. I was able to do something about that. And now I'm going to try and get my chasseurs to reload before anything else bad happens to them. Maybe I can't save them from another melee engagement. But we're going to find out, as I'm going to detach this unit of Swiss Guard to confront the Black Watch that was chasing my Triers. The idea was to get this unit so distracted from my riflemen that they would get too far away from their line to support. You never want to get units too far away from support. Always make sure that that's available for them, or they'll end up getting slaughtered quite like this by Swiss Guard, which are the best line infantry unit in the game. And as you can see, before they even get to me, they're going to be getting shot down. But the good news is the Black Watch are not too bad in melee. The only downside to that is the Swiss Guard are much better. And along with flanking fire from my riflemen from France, they will be taken care of quite swiftly. Now, I did not want to shoot any of my Swiss Guard because they are far more valuable than any of his units that he's bringing right now, so I decided just to move them up and get ready to engage the enemy fully. Now, like I said, I could not avoid a full-on engagement. He got my chasseurs into a position where they were flanked by two units of infantry, and because of that, they're going to begin routing. And infantry with socket bayonets and cavalry don't go together too well, especially when the Black Watch are lower-end elite infantry. You can see that didn't end up too well for me. But my light infantry are here to relieve my cavalry, which just got decimated, along with a unit of Swiss Guard and my 5 units of reserve line infantry for what we can't clean up. Now, at this point, I probably should have moved up my 18-pounders. It looks like that's what I'm doing, actually. That's the good news. Moving up my 18-pounders to start collapsing that flank even more. See, coupled with line infantry fire and also the light infantry fire, I should be able to make quick work of his remaining units, which looks like 5 units of infantry, 1 unit of cannons, and 1 unit of the Ferguson riflemen here. Now, the one thing I do want to stress, like I said at the beginning of the battle, my attempt was to distract the enemy with the cavalry, which did a fairly good job, as his entire formation was thrown out of balance once I equated the cavalry into that situation. Now, if you throw your enemy off balance, what you want to do is try to draw them from support, and once you draw their unit from support, you can do something like this to them, where my riflemen are now cutting his 1 unit of line infantry down. If you draw them from support, they don't have access to cavalry, which he has 1 unit of light dragoons, but it's a little too late to say that at the least. His cannons did not have support, and because of this they fell. And now, this 1 unit doesn't really have support at all, and they're going to fall to my Swiss Guard, who are going to continue firing. Now, I decided to keep this detachment of 5 line infantry units back for the reason that if I moved them up too soon, then my enemy would have reacted. And plus, my Swiss Guard have it under control along with the light infantry. At this point in time, So as you can see, the Swiss Guard using platoon firing are doing a swell job of tearing up his King's Royal Regiment of New York, coupled with the artillery fire, which I have set up coming here. They should rout far more quickly. One of the issues that I can point out for my enemy here, not only did I bring too much light infantry, like I said, he is walking his light dragoons, which if he had run them into my tirailleurs, he might have been able to do something far more efficient as far as distracting them and keeping them from providing support to my Swiss Guard. Unfortunately, I did lose about 20 in that recent engagement with the King's Royal Regiment, so they began routing, and now I can continue flanking fire on my enemy. But that's what canister shot does. You never want to charge a line infantry unit straight into canister shot, as they died. They just killed 20 of my Swiss Guard. Oh, right. That was not good. There goes almost another 20. Quite a show that they just put on there. But the Swiss Guard stands strong. The King's personal bodyguard for France. Always have been. A little historical background on that. The Swiss Guard were usually the largest, most fearsome-looking men that France could employ. And also, they weren't from France, necessarily. They were from, quite obviously, the Switzerland region. And when they were hired, they had actually been exiles from the Switzerland area. And because of that, the thinking was that the Swiss Guard would be far more loyal to the king than someone led by the passionate emotions of their own country and their nationalism. So not only were the Swiss Guard loyal, they were fearsome and extremely large men who could just about distract anyone on the battlefield. So now it's going to become a, well, 7, 8, 9 9-on-1 engagement, as his line infantry unit's going to try and square off against my Swiss Guard, who are going to take some casualties, but fire by rank is no match for platoon firing and light infantry fire. Now, I was using shrapnel shot there because I was slightly out of range for canister shot, but it is just a longer range canister shot, effectively. And now he is going to foolishly march 3 units of line infantry into 4 units of line infantry with support of 1 unit of riflemen. So now he's going to get his line infantry torn apart, and because they have no morale bonuses, they're going to waver fairly quickly, and as 1 unit wavers, another will waver, and so on. So as you can see, they're already shaken, and that's before they have even engaged my line. He also charged a unit of Ferguson riflemen into my line infantry here. And as you can see, line infantry versus Ferguson riflemen is a good combo for myself. Now, what you can see here is 2 units of line infantry squaring off against 1 French line infantry. In terms of match, the French have a higher melee attack than the British, which is going to play to my own advantage as they're fighting the British here. This was a nice classic historical match. The French very much hated the British at this point in time. And now I'm just going to clean up the rest here. It looks like I've won the battle. The most important thing I want you guys to take out of this, who are watching this video, is distracting the enemy to open up their flanks. If you recognize how to do that, chances are you can continue to push forward in implementing your own battle plan on the enemy, which will then take them off their own plan. And even Sun Tzu says, do not let the enemy execute their own battle plan. You must impose your will on the enemy in order to make sure that you're going to win the battle. And that's what we tried to do there. There was a little mishap with the cavalry towards the middle of the battle, where I had them engaged by infantry. But still, it was a good win. 1,147 kills, and I lost 397. My opponent, unfortunately, lost almost 1,200 and only killed 400. But it was a good battle overall. If you guys have any comments or questions, be sure to comment for me, or if you have anything you want to share, please share it. Thank you guys very much.